Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Before I begin our usual spiel, let me remind you that there is space up in the balcony if you're feeling a little bit crowded and you need a little bit more room. And we've got a couple of pews here and there. Make sure and make room for your neighbors if we continue getting folks coming in. And also make sure that you are wearing your mask over your nose and mouth in order to protect everybody vulnerable among us. All right, well, good morning. I am the Reverend Bran Lennox. I go by they, them pronouns, and I'd like to welcome you to First Parish Brewster. We are a Unitarian, Universalist, welcoming congregation of people of diverse philosophies and beliefs, people of various cultures and races, sexual orientations, gender identities, abilities, and socioeconomic backgrounds. Whoever you are, wherever you are on your path, may this be a place of rest and restoration and celebration on your journey. For those of you who may be first-time visitors with us this morning, welcome on this morning which we make sacred by our presence together. Let's join as well in greeting everyone on the virtual stream. We are glad you are joining us today. Our services are recorded and available on our YouTube channel in the middle of every week. Once again, I'm the Reverend Bran Lennox. I go by gender-neutral pronouns, and I'm honored to be welcoming you to the service with our worship associate, John Kelb, and a variety of other voices and presences. At this time, our masking policy here is that speakers may temporarily remove their masks while at the pulpit to increase accessibility for those with hearing difficulties, but otherwise, everyone over the age of 4 must continue to wear a mask over the nose and mouth while in our buildings. In order to give the best welcome that we can give, please wear your name tag or fill out a sticker name tag by the hallway entrance. We welcome the noises, movements, and mirth that little ones bring in our services. Please take this moment, however, to check that your cell phone is on silent. In Community News announcements, we've got lots going on today. This one's from the fundraising committee. We are 1 week away from the start of our biggest event of the calendar year, the Spring Festival event. There is a wonderful array. Yay! There is a wonderful array of time, talent, and treasures available this year to choose from. Donations are still being accepted, and the deadline to send in your donation form is Wednesday, May 4th. This Friday, May 6th, you will all receive an invite to view the online Spring Festival catalog and register to bid on the catalog items. Bidding begins on Saturday the 7th for all the wonderful offerings our FPBUU community has generously donated. Bidding will occur throughout the week, and we will end with a huge finale event after the Sunday service next week on May 15th. No, 2 weeks from now on May 15th. Speaking of finale, I don't know what day it is. Speaking of the finale, we are expanding our Spring Festival this year to include a plant and bake sale out on the front lawn of our church. The plant and bake sale is open to the general public, so please invite your friends and family. Do you have plantings that need to be divided? We are in search of a variety of plants to offer up. If you would like to help us make this event a smashing success, please contact Rand Burkert for the garden sale, Twinks for the bake sale, and Debbie Klein for the Spring Festival auction. Members of the fundraising committee, thank you for all of your support and are available after today's service to answer any questions. We are excited to welcome our new sexton, Dave Callow, who started this week. Thank you to everyone who helped with our spring cleaning effort yesterday. It was a tremendous success. The deadline for the annual report is coming up. So make sure that you get any materials in before next Monday. If you serve on any committees or teams, check the weekly angle for guidelines. And now Twinks has a message for us. I'll invite Twinks to share.
So, excuse me. Today is your second to last Sunday with us, Rev Bran. This is not really an announcement, I don't know. Surprise. And so I wanted to take this moment, and there are a few people also who want to take this moment to just thank you for your beautiful ministry here with us. It has been such a pleasure to work with you. Back when we were looking for someone to cover Rev Jessica's ministry, one thing that was really exciting to me was to be able to work with someone who had such creative worship background, and I really loved to work with you on worship, and I think I can speak for many of us who have enjoyed your worship presence with us here. So thank you for that. Yeah. Community has felt held and loved by you through this pretty tough and trying time for all of us. So I have one of our youth, Saffron, has a gift for you, and some of our little kids back there, or big kids, I'm sorry, some of our CYM participants have a card for you. You can bring that up, Levi, thank you. Oh boy. Do you want me to? Yeah, thank you. I don't want to drop it. Thank you so much.
Dear Rev Bran, on behalf of the congregation of First Parish Brewster, thank you for holding and caring for us during Jessica's leave. With love, all of us at FPB. Thank you so much.
I think Susan, our board president.
Rev Bran, you have brought wonderful gifts to this congregation. You have been with us in a very fraught time and quickly adapted to changing circumstances and evolving needs. The Board of Trustees feels deep appreciation for your sensitive worship and your pastoral care. We hope you can come back and be a visiting minister from time to time when your travels bring you back to New England. We are excited to see where your ministry takes you. The board would like to give you a small token of our thanks. May I put it on?
I know our staff has appreciated you, so Karina also has a gift for you.
There's not much to say that hasn't already been said, and I'm sure you're feeling the love right now. We are so grateful. Your contract with us didn't necessarily include staff oversight, but you really held us all with such tender care, and it mattered. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
Hang on. I didn't know there's one other large gift that our congregation has really appreciated of your time here, and that is your musical talent. So I know the choir also had something to say.
Hi, I guess the easiest way is to say this is you are a gift to our choir. So this is
First of all, it is a beautiful handmade Kip original, which I will treasure forever, that depicts all of the beloved members of the choir on it. Oh my goodness. Oh, Kip made a portrait of me. I am so touched by this. Back to the usual announcements. Join us next week for my final service here. It's me and Elenita leading, and we'll be talking about the legacy of the Mother's Day for Peace. So join us next week at 10.
Going to give Rev Bran a second to compose themselves. Yeah. Thank you so much for your ministry with us. It has been greatly appreciated. And now, let's get in the line. Now let us silence our hearts and open our minds for worship.
Oh, I need a moment to get centered, too. When my wife Marcia and I moved to Brewster in the summer of 2019, our experience with winter on Cape Cod was limited. An awesome surprise was learning that many birds migrate south from the Arctic to winter in both the ocean and ponds of the Cape. Watching and photographing the birds became a much-loved hobby and evolved into winter kayaking on Seymour Pond. December 12, 2020 was an unusually warm and calm day, perfect for winter kayaking. There was a thick fog over the cold water, and I thought it might offer the opportunity to quietly drift a little closer to the many scops on the pond. Many greater scops and other species of ducks are often seen on Seymour Pond in the winter. However, they are very cautious and keep their distance even from quiet drifting kayakers. I was first out in the water when Marcia launched, and I had disappeared into the fog. The limited visibility presented a very eerie feeling for her, so she chose to stay close to shore. We rendezvoused near the Harwick Public Beach before I disappeared again in the fog. In time, I found myself close to the middle of the pond and couldn't see the shore in any direction. You may want to close your eyes and imagine this experience. When one sense is obstructed, others rise in awareness. Sitting in blankness, not darkness, the sounds were amazing. The low vocalizations of the scops were heard in the distance, followed by the chaos of hundreds of flapping wings during takeoff, then a whistling noise from their wingtips as they gained speed. I paddled to the far side of Seymour Pond, where it is connected to Hinckley's Pond by a canal dug in the mid-1800s. The canal was made to support what is now a long-abandoned cranberry bog and offers a migration path to blueback herring and alewives. I was very lucky to see some of the young at the mouth of the canal, apparently gathering to leave for the sea. I now volunteer to keep an eye on the canal for the Director of Natural Resources for the town of Harwich to help ensure that migration path is clear. And on Thursday, Marcia and I witnessed, conservatively estimate 200 herring migrating into the pond. Now back into the fog. It started to rain, so I began to paddle back when I spotted an immature bald eagle perched nearby along the shore. Bald eagles have recently started to nest on Cape Cod after an absence of a century. It's so wonderful to witness the return of these magnificent birds. As we light our chalice today, let us take time to appreciate, enjoy, and protect the natural wonders around us.
And now let us rise in body or spirit and join in singing hymn number 38, Morning Has Broken. Now I'll invite Margaret forward to lead for our Time for All Ages, and I'll invite all of our children, youth, and young at heart to also come on forward and sit on the steps. Anyone who's willing to join us.
All of you, beautiful, precious ones, grown-ups and precious ones, grown-ups and little ones. So I'm Margaret, and this is John. And I have an issue that I need to ask you about, and I need your help with. So I have a lot of ants in my kitchen. I don't know what to do. Does anybody have an idea what I could do? Don't feed them. Well, we are going to show you a story, and then I'm going to ask you again what you think I should do. I'm very confused. And I will play what? I'm the ant. John is the kid.
Hey, little ant down in the crack, can you hear me? Can you talk back? See my shoe? Can you see that? Well, now it's going to squish you flat.
Please, oh please do not squish me. Change your mind and let me be. I'm on my way with a crumb of pie. Please, oh please don't make me die.
Anyone knows that ants can't feel. You're so tiny. You don't look real. I'm so big. You're so small. I don't think it'll hurt you at all.
giant, and giants can't know how it feels to be an ant. Come down close. I think you'll see that you are very much like me.
Are you crazy? Me? Like you? I have a home and a family too. You're just a speck that runs around. No one would care if my foot came down.
Oh, big friend, you are so wrong. My nestmates need me, 'cause I am wrong. I dig our nest and feed baby ants too. I must not die beneath your shoe.
But my mom says ants are rude. They carry off our picnic food. They steal our chips and breadcrumbs too. It's good if I squish a crook like you.
Hey, I'm not a crook. Read my lips. Sometimes ants need crumbs and chips. One little chip can feed my town. So please don't make your shoe come down.
But all my friends squish ants each day. Squishing ants, it's a game we play. They're looking at me, they're listening too. They all say, I should squish you.
I can see you're big and strong. Decide for yourself what's right or wrong. If you were me and I were you, what would you want me to do? Should the ant get squished? Should the ant go free? It's up to the kid, not up to me. We'll leave the kid with the raised up shoe. What do you think the kid should do? Anybody ideas? What should, it really relates to my kitchen. I don't know what to do. Should I step on the ants?
No,
No. Why?
I don't know.
Good. Look, you operate like I
We once did a class in CYM, and we taught everyone how to safely get insects from a place you don't want them to a place where they live. So maybe you could come and we do that class again, and you could really hear them.
I would love to do that. That would help me in my kitchen problem. Thank you. We are all part of this beautiful world. Ants and bugs and people and birds and lions. We're all part of the beautiful world, and especially you guys. especially children.
I have a suggestion. Try cloves on your windowsill. They don't like cloves. Or cinnamon.
Thank you, Cicely. And now we're going to sing our kids to class.
And may you go now in peace, children, may you go now in joy. Love surrounds you on your way. Roseanne has a special reflection for us on Earth Day.
I have a confession to make. I'm a morning person, and I know some of you are not. I love morning. It's my favorite time of day. Stepping onto my patio, hearing bird songs, looking up and seeing the ever-changing cloud formations, the blue sky, or even the gray one, reminds me of how blessed I am to live on this beautiful spit of land we call Cape Cod. I am also aware that the Cape's fragile nature makes it more vulnerable to the impacts of climate change. For the past several years, I've been collaborating with residents in Harwich, the town in which I live, and in the wider Cape Cod community to provide information about specific actions we can take to protect the places we love and preserve them for future generations. I found that Cape Cod residents don't always agree about how, or even if, to make changes that can support the continued health of our land, forests, and waterways. In a recent newsletter published by the Association for the Preservation of Cape Cod, Andrew Gottlieb, its executive director, noted, exercising a right, and to what extent, involves a choice and a balancing of the needs of the individual with the needs of others. Because we live in a free country, we don't usually dictate what people can and cannot do. And we are faced with a dilemma: how to reverse or even forestall the trajectory of climate change while still allowing others the freedom to make choices that may affect current and future generations. It's not my intention here to be the prophet of doom and gloom, but rather to inspire actions that might help to shift the proverbial tide while allowing people to make choices that can result in different outcomes. We need to look no further than the Mashpee Wampanoag, with whom our congregation has been in what we have called allyship for many years. They have much to teach us about stewardship of the natural world, about the connection they have maintained with the land of their ancestors. One example of this work is the Native Land Conservancy, which, and I quote, strives to provide safe and clean places in our communities to connect in good ways with the earth and each other. From the NLC perspective, everything we can do together to benefit Mother Earth is worth doing. Its members believe that all land is sacred and deserves special care, no matter how small. Their brochure talks about shared values and partnership, concepts that are inclusive and respectful of our relationship with one another and with the places in which we live and work. Recently, we observed the 52nd Earth Day. For me, it's a holy day that reminds me of the sacred responsibility to care for our planet. As you used, we know that our seventh principle was developed in response to concerns about growing threats to our planet. I ask you now to look at your order of service and read along with me the words of the seventh principle at the top. Respect for the interdependent web of all existence of which we are a part. We are connected to one another and to all that surrounds us. And now, I ask you to step outside today and take a minute to look at whatever is in your line of sight. And I encourage you to ask this, whatever this is. What can I do to ensure this will continue to exist today, tomorrow, and into the future? And then take the first step in that direction. I also encourage you to talk with me after the service or whenever we have the opportunity to learn more about the growing number of resources available so you can do your part, however big or small, to care for the extraordinary beauty right on your doorstep and to ensure its future.
And with that beautiful idea in our hearts, I invite you into a spirit of meditation with me. And I'll ask you first to drop in to a place of curiosity, a place of openness. Find whatever posture of the body gives you a little inroad to insight. You may wish to connect with the wave of your breath rolling through the body. Let the tension go from the places where it usually resides, your shoulders, your jaw, your forehead. Maybe your fingers or toes need to relax. And from this open area of curiosity, of insight, what is your relationship with this earth? To your mind, what is the relationship between nature and the divine? And now, in your imagination, I want you to go to the nearest window and open it up wide. In your most beautiful commitment to the thriving of this earth. Continue to take in all these sensations and sounds, smells and sights, and the sense of the mysterious in it all. And allow a single word or a short phrase to float up in your mind and surface. Shift your focus to that word or phrase. Let it come clear for you. Turn it over and anchor yourself in it. And let it be written in a deep part of you. Stay with this word, this phrase, this intention, and we'll share a moment of silence together. All the stirrings of compassion blow in the wind, rise in the sea, move in the hand, giving life the shape of justice. Roots hold me close, wings set me free. Spirit of life, come to me, come to me.
That I know of, there are no other skies that we have mapped. This is our earth. The oneness who gave birth to it remains nameless. This is our earth. There are no other earths. Before its wonder, philosophers fall silent. Before its mystery, poets admit their words are shadow, not light. And all the great names religious teachers have left to us suddenly refuse to announce themselves. And so we too fall silent, entering a time when words end and reality begins. So ends our first reading.
Each week, we here have the practice of splitting our offertory plate, committed to mitigating the climate crisis. There are a couple of ways you can give today. You can text to give using the number that is in your order of service. You can put a check or cash in the offering basket. Or for those of you who are streaming in, you can donate using our website. However you choose to give today, your generosity is appreciated. The offering will now be gratefully received.
Oceans, trees, sky. But there is one all-encompassing encounter with the natural world that, to date, has been experienced by only a handful of our contemporaries. the view of Earth from outer space, as glimpsed by astronauts. So emotionally overwhelming is this sight, and so consistent are the psychological consequences for the few who have seen it, that scientists have given it a name: the overview effect. If somebody said before the flight, "You are going to get carried away looking at the Earth and the moon," I would have said, "No way," recalled Alan Shepard, an American astronaut. But yet, from up in outer space, recounted astronaut Rusty Schweikart, you look down and see the surface of the globe that you've lived on all this time, and you know all those people down there, and they are like you. They are you. You recognize that you're a piece of this total life. So ends the second reading.
There is a reassuring theme that is repeated in our earth-honoring religious circles. It goes like this: "Sure as the seasons change," eco-theologies. This was a class which used a religious naturalist lens to help faith organizers like me explore how to address the climate emergency. The first day of class, we were asked why we were there. I shared that I was hoping to get help with this issue I had, where I couldn't talk about climate change at all. I was so distressed by the topic that every time I started thinking about it, I would freeze up and my mind would go blank and my words would dry up in my mouth. Now you see, only a few months before this, I had experienced the worst wildfire season on California record. This was not normal. And this was only going to get worse. And it had all been preventable. I had been afraid before that, though. I had lost my faith that the environment would be okay back in 2016. I knew that those who took office that year would throw away humanity's last chance to slow the greenhouse effect, and I mourned for this even more than all of the other threats ahead. The climate crisis is damage that cannot be recovered or taken back. And here despair took hold of me. I'm glad that I registered for eco-theologies. It did indeed help me get past my block so I could talk about the climate again. And it also introduced me to some really wonderful ways, to the Baha'i international community, to the Jewish Council for Public Affairs. Resistance to climate science isn't actually correlated with religious affiliation. And it almost seems like there's something about connecting with any spirituality that brings us closer in our own way to concern for the earth. While these leaders and councils all produce recommendations for environmental preservation, most of these recommendations are on a scale beyond what you or I could do ourselves in any meaningful way day to day. Some religious groups, however, show strong guidance in individual practices that we inhabit. I think that's one of the things that we lose when we get into this place of feeling frozen with fear. Just like with other people, when we're in that state of shutdown, it's impossible to properly bond with the land. To come into relationship with the earth, we have to move through our fears and reopen our hearts. I do have personal experience with the practical power of this sacred relationship. A few years back, I fulfilled a lifelong dream and went hiking down all the way to the bottom of the Grand Canyon. The whole journey is a long and astounding story for another Sunday, but suffice it to say, it was one of the wildest ordeals. Every time I catch news of a new proposal to begin construction on some developmental abomination in the Grand Canyon, I am signing petitions and calling senators before I can even think about it. The idea of harming that beloved ecosystem with drilling or tourist trams sends waves of fury through my body. And to be honest, I just don't get that worked up over every landscape. I feel like perhaps I should, but I don't. Creating a spiritual bond with that land has changed how I behave in a tangible way. Religious naturalists recommend that we make intentional time to open ourselves up to the kind of care and devotion anywhere that we really inhabit. In Green Space, Green Time, sociobiologist Connie Barlow writes about how repairing the human-to-earth bond can lay the foundation for repairing human-to-human and group-to-group bonds. Without this human-to-earth repair, artificial scarcity continues to rule our interaction. We're the Cape Cod Climate Change Collaborative, and there are so many other environmental groups on this little spit of land that I cannot name them all in this sermon. So many of you spend dedicated time outdoors. You have shared with me your love for your gardens, for the beaches and the walking trails, the waterways and the bogs, and so much more. Even this church has exceptional grounds. I know of no other churches with a small wetland in the yard, and I commute to work by a trail carpeted with plush moss every day, and I cherish that. One extraordinary thing about this strong relationship that so many of you have with the Cape is that here it is punishingly cold and dark for at least half of the year. And while some may expect that this coldness and darkness would make it harder to love the land, I myself am experiencing how staying with the weather through its harshest makes the spring all the more welcome and vibrant. Even if it's just a few herbs in a window box, every local meal is one less thing that gets shipped here from off Cape. Before planting, do a little research about what beings are indigenous to this climate. The plants and animals which were meant to inhabit a certain place can have a surprising power to heal the land, revitalizing soil, nourishing the food chain, and encouraging pollinators. Learn which native plants are edible and give those a try. Use natural techniques to protect your garden instead of weed killers and pesticides. I hear cloves are good for deterring ants. Another goal that you might have, this last one might be a little hard for some of us, but I would also challenge you to increase the time you spend enjoying leisure activities nearby and take fewer long-distance journeys, especially by airplane. It might be a sacrifice at times, but staycations are a fantastic way to cut down on your personal fossil fuel footprint while increasing your quality time with the land that you hold sacred here. If you are really feeling that travel bug, give the train a go. It takes a little longer, but really, what is it? A few extra hours of travel in the service of our planet's health. Now, these are just 3 suggestions, and there are plenty more out there. Roseanne has invited you to talk to us. And yet somehow we are still surrounded by people who either don't believe in climate change or don't care. Well, it turns out that sociologists have observed that what religious leaders and celebrities say about the environment has very little impact on the average person's opinion about it. If a Catholic disbelieved in climate change before the Pope published his encyclical letter, the letter only served to lower that person's opinion about the Pope. Seriously. So, if people are this set in their beliefs, how is it possible to change minds and hearts? Well, the most effective method is through heart-to-heart conversations between friends and family. This has been proven. People who do believe in climate science but won't take action about it are likely apathetic because they have what's called psychological distance from it. In fact, more than half of Americans believe that climate change has a noticeable impact, experience it playing out in our lives. And while it can be daunting to talk about a stressful issue like this with someone who might not ever believe you, try to remember it's not your job to change anyone's mind, especially not in one conversation. You can talk about your experiences, and it can plant some seeds for understanding to begin growing later. It is a little infuriating that a lifetime of effort from someone like you or me is a drop in the bucket of what could be accomplished by one of those ultra-rich CEOs in a week. But we are not powerless, and our power grows in numbers. It's going to take a lot of us working together to give the earth a little more time to restore itself. Nature is powerfully resilient, but it can only withstand so much. If we want to depend on that resilience, we need to create the circumstances for it to blossom. And nature will strengthen you and restore you while you help protect it. You are a part of nature and can never be separated from it. We are coming to the end of my time ministering to you. And this is my hope for something you will still think back on when the next spring rolls around. You and nature are one and the same. You are part of it, and it is part of you. When you are running out of resources and you don't know how to go on fighting for a better world, go to the earth. Remember what our struggle is for, and let the love in this land restore you. In a year, whatever is happening in the world, if things are getting difficult, I hope you hear my voice saying, go to the earth, go to the earth, go to the earth. And now rise with me, embody your spirit, and let's join in singing hymn number 175, We Celebrate the Web of Life.
A fragment of the perfect whole in cactus and in quail, as much in tiny barnacle as in the great blue whale. Of ancient dreams we are the sum, our bones link stone to star, and bind our future worlds to come with worlds that were and are. Respect the water, land, and air which gave all creatures birth. Protect the lives of all that share the glory of the earth.
I share this benediction today in honor of all that we have accomplished together in the past 4 precious months. These words are from John O'Donohue. May the nourishment of the earth be yours. May the clarity of the light be yours. May the fluency of the ocean